a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right. With diet-free life, it helps futures lose pride.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good day, everyone. This is Robert Ferguson, your nutritionist, a guy who shares because I care. So welcome to Diet-Free Life with Robert Ferguson. Now, today is no different. We're going to share, and joining me in this conversation is one of our health and weight loss and nutritionists, Miss Amy Prine. What's up, Amy?
Oh, good morning, Robert. How are you today?
I am great. Now, for those of you who are catching Amy and I, just please know you can contact Amy. Her information is in the description. My information and contact, blah, 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 is part of the description. And there's an article in there titled A Brief History of Cholesterol from Guidelines to Statins, which we're going to talk about. And we're going to keep it very brief today. When I say brief, that's less than 30 minutes. Because normally we could be on here for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, right, Amy?
Right.
And then we have an upcoming Food as Medicine conference online that's coming up. This is the last, I think we're in the last 24 hours where you can get it at the initial early bird discount special. So act on it now. Don't miss it because everybody can benefit. And wait till you see our schedule, our calendar of what we're going to be covering. Last year I had a blast, Amy, but this year I'm having a bigger blast, and I'm so excited for what you guys are going to be introduced to and things you're going to learn. So
it's hard to even imagine that it's going to be bigger and better because last year's was phenomenal.
Well, thank you. And like today, actually, this conversation that you and I are having, which I'm inviting everybody to listen into, is you know what? It's one of those things where there's so much out there that no one really knows who to believe, what to believe when it comes to health, nutrition, politics. It's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And it kills me every day that I meet people and they tell me they're on a statin. They're taking a statin. And so I want people to be a fly on the wall and listen to our conversation. And Amy, I would like you to play devil's advocate and just represent the people out there. Maybe even think of one of your clients or someone that you know, and be them as I kind of guide you through this article that I wrote. And everybody can read the article, but we're going to try to give you a video or a visual presentation of the article because some people don't like to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind, can we just dive in, Amy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sounds good.
So before we get started, you guys, cholesterol, we hear about it, but it's important to know that you can't even produce testosterone, estrogen, or cortisol without cholesterol. Your brain requires cholesterol to do what it does. Every cell in our body benefits from cholesterol. And our liver is so in tune with helping us optimize our health and thrive with our health that our liver plays a huge role in how much cholesterol is produced in the body. It knows when we need more cholesterol delivered to different parts of the body because it'll produce more. It knows when we have plenty and it will produce less. And so cholesterol is amazing. But we live in a world right now where many people are on cholesterol. And what we're going to cover, they don't know. So let's start there. So think about someone, Amy, and let's say they're taking a statin. And so let's role play, right?
Okay.
And those of you who are listening, role play with us. And I promise you, you're going to have a strong takeaway from this conversation. You're going to be better informed. And then you can click on the article. You can even print it out. It has a bibliography there. The citations are there. Print it. I made it where you can print it out, take it to your doctor, and ask them questions based on this conversation. Okay. So if I met Amy and Amy says, yeah, I'm taking a statin for my cholesterol. I said, so why are you taking a statin for your cholesterol, Amy?
I'm not real sure, other than I went to the doctor and the doctor said that my cholesterol levels were high and suggested that I go on a statin, and I just agreed with it.
Okay. But why are you taking the statin? Is it just because your doctor said you have high cholesterol?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I trusted my doctor and went on it. And
okay, so how many people are following us that maybe you're taking a statin or you don't know someone that's taking a statin? They're on a statin because their doctor suggested it. And the only thing most people know is that they're taking a statin because their cholesterol is high. So then I would say, so Amy, so your cholesterol is high. So is it the goal to bring your cholesterol down? Is that why you're taking a statin?
I'm assuming that's what why the doctor would put me on a statin, is to bring the cholesterol numbers down.
Okay. So let's all agree that's the takeaway, right? You have high cholesterol. The doctor says it's high. And you're like, okay, well, what do we need to do? And he says, well, we're going to take a statin to keep your cholesterol from being high. So then I would say, so what's the concern with it being high? Like, why can't it be high? Like, what would happen if I just allow my cholesterol to be high? Where's the problem?
Right. So yeah. So what is the problem with my cholesterol being high? Can I change my diet, or do you really recommend me being on a statin? Is a statin that I'm going to be on the rest of my life? So I really don't know anything about cholesterol or statins. So if you could inform me.
Okay. So most doctors, if you talk to them long enough, if they can give you that much time, or those who are listening to us, they would say, well, you take the statin to lower your cholesterol, because if your cholesterol is high, that means you have increased risk of having a heart attack.
Heart attack. Okay.
So can we agree that you lower the cholesterol because when the cholesterol is high, that means that I'm more likely to have a heart attack? Would everybody agree with that? I'm one, even the people who are watching and catching us. Can you agree with that?
Agree. Okay. I would agree.
So that's why I want to lower it. So then if I was in a room with you, I would say, okay, so can you tell me what percentage is going to help reduce my risk of heart attack? Like most drugs, when they do testing, so they will have like reduce your risk of a heart attack by this percentage. So could you ask the doctor that? And if you did, you think they would tell you?
Probably. I feel you could ask the doctor that, but I don't know if they would know that answer.
So this is where a big part of the problem lies. Let's say the doctor says it reduces your risk of heart attack by 44%, which I've seen with certain drugs, right? Certain statins. Lipitor, which is one of the most popular statins of all time, it used to advertise that it reduces the risk of heart attack by 36%. Some of the ones today I know is like 44%. So everyone who's taking a statin, if you understand that you're reducing your risk of heart attack, find out what the risk reduction would be. And let's say it's 44%. Then you must ask this question. A doc, talking to the doctor. Are we reducing? Is that a relative risk or is that an absolute risk? So relative risk is what you usually will see being promoted or advertised or marketed as far as the risk reduction of taking the statin. So let's say it's 44%. The absolute risk is the factual risk, meaning like what was demonstrated to actually what the real reduction would be. So with the drug that's at 44%, the absolute risk is 0.4%. So 0.4%, you reduce the risk of a heart attack, not 4%, not even 1%, 0.4%. would a person take a statin at this point if it only reduced the risk by 0.4%?
I would hope not, Robert.
So then we'd ask, well, why wouldn't a person? Well, let's look at the side effects. Most people don't do well with the statin because of the muscle soreness, right, and weakness that they experience as a side effect. Let's look past that. What are some of the other risks? So in the article, I highlight this. Number one, and I talk about 4 key risks, okay, side effects, and there's more. But number one, it's been demonstrated that dementia and Alzheimer's disease are much more likely if you're taking a statin. So I'm going to reduce my risk of a heart attack, but I'm going to increase my risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. So you got to be thinking about that, right? And most people, they're not thinking about it. Think of all the people you know taking a statin. They don't know that it increases their risk for dementia and Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
They don't know that it increases their risk for type 2 diabetes. They don't know that it increases their risk of high blood pressure and myopathy. Myopathy is muscle pain and weakness. They don't know that it increases their risk for a severe condition called, I always mess this word up, rhabdomyolysis, which is muscle breakdown and kidney damage. They don't know that it increases their risk of all-cause mortality, because in the study that they refer to, the doctors, if they're knowledgeable, they will talk about the Framingham Heart Study. And it was in the Framingham Heart Study, it goes back to the 40s, where they discovered that with the goal of lowering the LDL. So the LDLs became the culprit for the increased risk of heart attack. And when Eisenhower was having all his problems with his heart, had a heart attack, was out of the office for a while, they didn't look at the fact that he smoked, like he chain smoked. They didn't look at all these other things that were going on. They were really quick at that point to blame his problem for having a heart attack and heart problems on increased levels of cholesterol. So cholesterol, that's when it all basically happened. And they never talk about the fact that in that same study, which I give all the references, you guys, so you're hearing us talk about this, just click on the link, print out the article, do your own due diligence. Some of you are on statins and you are set up for hell. It is about to get really horrible for you if it hasn't already started. I mean, I don't know anyone who wants dementia or Alzheimer's.
No, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And to reduce my risk of a heart attack by 0.4%,
right,
makes no sense.
No.
Now, in this study, they proved that if we lower your cholesterol, you will also increase your risk of dying earlier. So the people who lower their cholesterol in this huge study that all the doctors, when they prescribe statins, is all based on this one study. That same study says you will die earlier being on a statin because it lowers your cholesterol than not being on a statin.
Isn't that just unbelievable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and people will take it.
So who would be in the, I mean, I believe most people and those watching us who are taking statins, they don't know what we just talked about.
Right. So the life shortened, is that around 5 years?
I don't know exactly, but it's in the Framingham study, which they try to suppress for years. And they still don't want people to know about it. But let's say 5 years. I would go with 5 years.
Okay.
I mean, they're going with, if you're taking a statin compared to not taking a statin, when they looked at how long people lived, and this is more relative risk, is that people who were taking the statin lived 4 days longer than people who didn't take the statin.
4 days. Wow.
4 days.
And then increase all of those other health issues.
Right.
Yes.
Now, if you went ghetto or just went, just go with common sense. If the statin is playing a role in inhibiting cholesterol that's needed in my brain for cognitive function, brain signaling, etc. If the statin reduces cholesterol, then that means my brain is not getting as much cholesterol as it needs.
As it needs.
So that may be the reason why you see an increase of people with dementia and Alzheimer's who are on statins. And I've had clients over the years, and I've heard many, many stories over the years. A person will be on a statin. They'll show signs of memory loss, maybe brain fog. They take them off the statin. A person just goes off the statin. No more brain fog. No more like challenge with memory. So how many people are in nursing homes, assisted living facilities that are on a statin because they don't want to die from a heart attack, not knowing that it only reduces their risk of a heart attack by 0.4%? Now,
and then you're increasing all those brain issues.
Yeah. And think about it. The average person don't even know how to talk to their doctor. So a lot of times people, they treat a doctor almost like a parent or a teacher, and they're hiding things from the doctor. I mean, this is outright, I mean, it's crazy. Okay. So I'm looking at the time. We're doing good. We got another good 10 minutes. So I just want to go over some of the history. But before I do that, any questions you have for me that you think people are going, okay, wait a minute. You know, I'm hearing this for the first time. Robert, what are you talking about? I shouldn't be on my statin. And I would say rewatch what we've talked about so far. Read the damn article that I wrote. Call me for a free consultation, and then I can tell you exactly why you don't want to be on a statin and how you can transition off the statin. Because I know some smart people on the statin right now, producers, judges, executives, smart people, well accomplished, got money, got families, but they're taking a statin. That shows how sometimes willfully ignorant people can be. And I mean, I'm like, again, I see this with politics all the time. People don't want to know the truth. And I believe that when people are on a statin and they've been on it for a while, they don't want to know the truth because they kind of feel embarrassed.
I would agree.
And so a lot of people will just put their head, in the sand and just hope for the best, because right now, all the people that I know taking a statin, they're not my official client. They know me. They'll hear me make comments like this, but they'll stay on the statin.
They choose not to change it.
Because they trust their doctor. So then I said, all right, well, let's look at where all this comes from. A gentleman by the name of Ansel Keys, you can say, is responsible for all of this. He had created this thing called a diet heart hypothesis, where he blamed eating saturated fat. That's why the government for years now has said reduce fat, low fat, cut out the fat, because they believe that the saturated fat with the cholesterol was the primary culprits for why people had high cholesterol. We now know clearly, even the government admits it, that eating cholesterol does not cause your cholesterol to go up. And I will be in a meeting talking to people who are really accomplished, Amy, smart people, and that's new to them. They're hearing it for the first time. That just shows how ignorant we are in this country when it comes to our health. And we just leave it up to the people that we think supposed to be looking out for us. They don't even know. Like, I have a book and I read a lot. I'm reading. This is one of my new books I'm reading. I was going to mention this to all the coaches. Every coach should read this book. I'm halfway done with it. I just finished another book written by a physician called Blind Spot. Great book, because he comes from the same perspective as this guy. What I like about this book is that this guy, his mom was a dietitian. He grew up following the food pyramid. Then he was really into science, so he goes to school to become a doctor, falls in love with the science and becoming a doctor, and then he decides to become a professor. Now he's a professor teaching students who want to be a doctor. So the title of the book is Lies I Taught in Medical School. Not lies I learned.
I taught.
Lies I taught. Now, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to kind of go back to what we're talking about. The first chapter, there's a quote from a guy named Professor David Sackett. David Sackett is the father of evidence-based medicine. And this is his quote. It says, quote, 50% of what you learn in medical school will turn out to be either outdated or dead wrong within 5 years of your graduation. The trouble is in no one can tell you which half, so you have to learn on your own. What he's saying is that, hey, if you're not constantly learning after med school, then you don't know what's right. And as this professor states, lies I taught people. He just comes out and just goes right for it and keeps it real. And so when you look at from whence we come, then you better understand why we are where we are and why so many people are gullible. And that's not even the right word, because they're just ignorant. They're just unaware that their doctor may not be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And in this short article, I make it real. I mean, you're talking 6 minutes, you can read this. But in the article, I go into answer keys. I go into when he published this study. It was a 7-country study. I think it started out as 6, then it ended up being 7. And he basically cherry picked some information. And this was published in 1970. But here's what I wanted to bring up to everybody. What makes high cholesterol high cholesterol? So if you went to your doctor today, high cholesterol, the first thing they look at is your total cholesterol. So if it's over 200, that's considered high. But before it was 200, it was 240. So in 1987, the National Cholesterol Education Program came out with their first set of guidelines with the goal of helping people classify cholesterol levels. Normal cholesterol was below 200. So if you're 199, you have normal cholesterol.
Mm-hmm. You're good.
Borderline was 200 to 239, and high cholesterol was 240. 6 years goes by, and in 1993, they lowered it from 240 milligrams per deciliter to 200. And when they did that, it made it where the net was wider and more people could be put on statins.
Exactly.
With the goal of inhibiting the liver from producing cholesterol. So your liver produces cholesterol. So these statins are designed to mess with an enzyme that blocks your liver from doing what God designed it to do, and that's to create cholesterol.
So question, Robert.
Yeah.
What does that do to the liver then? If it makes the liver not produce cholesterol, does that obviously damage the liver then?
Well, right now we have almost 50% of all adults have fatty liver. So the liver has been compromised as far as its health based on a lot of things, the way we eat, the foods we're eating, fatty liver. And when the liver gets fatty, it's almost like it's a hamster on a wheel. It's like it can't get off. And when it can't get off, it just creates more and more and more disruption. And then you start to see more and more people with stage 2, stage 3 fatty liver, and it's non-alcoholic.
Mm-hmm, right.
So it just creates almost like a backup. It gums up everything where things aren't working as well. And then the spillover is kidney damage. And this is by just taking the statin to do something that our body naturally wants to block something that our body naturally wants to do. Now, when you look at the dates around everything, right? So they come out with the guidelines in 1987. Merck in 1987 comes out with the first statin gets approved. Is that a coincidence? And then as they change the numbers, you also quickly learn that many of the people on that panel had financial ties to the pharmaceutical companies that were creating the drugs. And this is all freedom of information, public info. It's there. And so now you're dealing with something, it just doesn't make sense. People, when it comes to statins, they have been hoodwinked, bamboozled. I mean, it's mind-blowing when you look at the data, right? And then later, they made other changes. They added a calculator. So if your cholesterol is 180, but yet you're a type 2 diabetic, put them on the statin. They want people on statins because they've made billions and they continue to make billions and billions of
Billions
dollars
of
every
dollars.
year. And we're
Sad.
indoctrinated for it. And as I stated, because later they came up with this group called the Cholesterol Guidelines Committee. And this committee had financial ties to pharmaceutical companies that manufacture the statins, such as Merck and Pfizer. They're still around, right?
Yep.
And Pfizer in 1996 comes out with Lipitor, and it became the best-selling drug in the world. And all these people are on it. They even wanted at one point to put it in the water, so because they were trying to say that kids and everybody could benefit from these statins.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. You can look it up. Now, the saddest part to all of this is a person will read this article. They will hear us talk about it. If they go really deep, they can fact check it and see the truth being the truth, and they will still stay on statins. What do you call that? Like, anyone, please notify me, email me, message me, help me understand what that is. When you can show a person the complete truth, you can back up everything that you share.
Mm-hmm.
They're so bought in that they're compromised, meaning they compromise their own health.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part, but it's true and kind of funny, when they get dementia, because if they live long enough, they will, based on what we know about statins.
Right.
They'll never know they got it.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
There you go. So any questions for me before that was a lot, and thank you for letting me ramble. That is mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. And you had said, what do you call it? Well, I don't like the term stupid, but that is what it is when people aren't willing to open up their eyes and do their own research. Totally opposite than ignorant. Ignorant, you're willing to do research, look things up on your own. But if you don't investigate, if you have any hesitation on the information that we just shared today, look it up and open up your eyes. I have clients that are on statins. Someone very close to me is on statins, and I'm doing everything in my power to try to get them off of them. So I appreciate you with all this information.
You know what's interesting, Amy, is that a lot of times I've heard many guys say, well, that's why I pay the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, I'm sorry that you're paying the doctor, but he's just doing what he's aware of.
Mm-hmm.
As this teacher to doctors is fully aware of. The book Blind Spot guy, I just read his book. He's saying the same thing. You got a lot of people out there, many family physicians who have woken up. If people continue to just want to just be lost, I mean, one of the saddest things is I see this big in the Black community, and I can speak on it because I'm. If you didn't know, Amy, I'm Black. Okay. And I'm going to start speaking about it more and more because I see so many ignorant people. Like there's a radio personality on a show called The Breakfast Club. His name is Charlemagne the God, which I'm not a fan of calling anybody the God, but his name is Charlemagne. And I don't know him personally, but I was watching the show one time, and at the end they were talking about health, and he was bragging about how he works out and how he does this. And then at the very end of his statement, he goes, and I take my cholesterol medication every day. Mm-hmm. I was like, you stupid ass, uninformed influencer. Got all I go, you are so stupid. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to be mean, and I'm not putting him down, but it's like I don't have the words sometimes to describe mm-hmm. how frustrating it is to watch people just be so unaware. And
he's got all those followers that are believing everything that he says.
Yeah, because they don't even know.
Right. Exactly.
They have no clue.
Exactly.
And then if I was sitting there talking to Charlemagne, I say, "Why are you on the statin?" Well, man, to keep my cholesterol low. Okay, but why? Why do you keep your cholesterol low? Because it's high. So okay, so if it's high and you don't bring it down low, what could happen? I'm gonna have a heart attack. Okay, do you understand the difference between relative risk and absolute risk, Charlemagne? No, what is that? And then you explain it. And you say, okay, so you're reducing your risk of a heart attack by 0.4%. 0.4%. And you're increasing your risk of dementia, increasing your risk of type 2 diabetes, increasing your risk of muscle fatigue and tiredness, creating all of these other problems. Were you aware of that, Charlemagne? No. And you know what? He'll go to his doctor. Hey, I met this guy, Robert Ferguson. He was telling me this. He ain't going to go in and look at my citations and the references where it's clearly proven. So you can only help people. I mean, Lord help those of you who just want to just stay ignorant.
You can only help people that want to be helped, that want to listen.
Lord help me help people. So let me see. We're going to say goodbye. Tasha, what's up, Tasha Lane? Tasha caught us this morning. Hey. Tasha, yeah, download it and read it, and we can talk about it when we have a coach called Tasha. Tasha is, I am so proud of this lady, Amy. I know we got to both rush, but I am so proud of her. She is absolutely the epitome of what can happen when we have a client that listens. Yeah.
Good.
And let me see here. Who is that? Cortania Ferguson. Well, I love you already. We're related. What's up, cuz?
Ferguson name.
How do a person wean themselves off statins, especially when taking? Thank you. That's a great question. I would invite you to do a free consultation with me. Just, the link is there. Just schedule it. I'm not selling you. If you do a free consultation, I would say probably 30% of people that do a free consultation with me, Amy, we talk, we keep it to maybe 15, 20 minutes. We make it fun. And if I can answer their questions, I answer their questions, guide them a little bit. And then that's it. And about 70% of the people who call end up becoming a client. And sometimes I have like special programs. And so sometimes it works out that way, but it always works out because if I could help her, Cortania, if I could help my cousin, then my goal is to help my cousin. So I will tell you, I give away the information. I will tell you exactly how to transition off, but you want to get off statins. And print anything that I ever share, any video, share it with your doctor, physician assistant. I will get on the phone with them, right? You know I will, Amy.
Oh, I know you will.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, every time I've done this, which I would say hundreds of times with doctors about statins and cholesterol, the doctor always agrees with me when we have the conversation. Always agrees. And I don't have to be right. I really don't. But this is what we know to be real. This is real what we're talking about.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anyway, last words, Amy.
No, thank you very much. I think it was a great education. So hopefully we can win people over and get off statins. And like Robert said, any questions, reach out to him. He knows the answers, and if he doesn't, he's going to do the research and find it.
It's right. And and if I don't know it, I'm raise my hand. I really don't know that. But when you see the data, when you see the
clarity, it's there.
You see the lies. Pharma is lying to these people.
Right.
They're just it's just big corporate. They're just making money, and they don't care about where your health is headed. Man,
so
people,
sad.
wake up, man. Wake up. And if you notice, I have 5,000 friends on my personal Facebook. I'm only saying that because on Facebook, people will call you out, right? Like there's people who disagree with some of my political views, which is fine. I'm totally cool with that. God bless everybody and vote for who you vote for. But I am a factual person. I'm looking for the facts, and I can respect whatever people do. So people will come out and make comments on politics, right? But a lot of them are on blood pressure medications. I've talked about it. A lot of them are like living with diabetes and they don't have to. A lot of them are taking statins, and I'm sharing these facts. All of my physician friends, all of my nurse clients and friends, all of the people in the wellness group, all these other dietitians and people out there, they do not challenge me on shit like this because they can't challenge me. The science and clarity is settled.
Can't change it.
All they can do, and some of them are doctors prescribing statins, and they still won't say anything about my comment. They will not comment on posts like this.
Yep,
they won't, and they won't go live with me because they know, but they're compromised. They want to make that money anyway.
Sad.
Enjoy
sad.
your day. Enjoy your day, Amy.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Very informative. And I really appreciate everything that you do.
All right. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. And again, Amy's contact information is below. Reach out to her, reach out to me, and we're here to help you. Okay?
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Gotta go. Peace out. Boom.
In a world of dice, there's a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices that see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food